these three guys have managed to fill this entire lobby, which is really cool. There's a lot of eyes and ears on you three. Thank you so much for being here. Justin, Anthony, Ryan. Justin, you're from Minnesota.
Correct.
You two are you're out in Los Angeles now.
Correct, yeah.
You've teamed up to produce and direct The Dust Storm.
Yeah.
Which is about when the one that got away comes back.
Exactly.
How cool of a premise is that? We have one of your actors here as well tonight, which is great. We're going to talk to her, but let's talk about your film. From a directing standpoint, this is a rather simple premise. I say that lightly because any film that goes all through aspects of production is a miracle, but you took this, it's basically about two characters and you're throwing them on screen together and putting a story in front of them and they're delivering it. What was it like having all of those pieces come together as a directing team, and Justin with you producing as well?
I think what we wanted to do was basically we wanted to take like a realistic approach at like a relationship. We've all been through those relationships where like, you know, we've fallen in love, we've broken up, we've been heart-stricken, and we've lingered on for that one relationship that just got away. And we definitely just wanted to make something that like we could all watch and relate to and just feel like honest and brutal, but not be kind of overblown or overrun in that sense of like production-wise. So it's mostly just these two people and how over one weekend the relationships kind of brought together and then tested and ultimately, I guess, like reborn.
I love it. Again, it's that premise that goes the distance in being compelling for audiences. Now, you managed to get a rather talented cast in your film, because when you're relying on two people, you've got to be golden in that department. Talk to us about working with Colin and Kristen.
They were the best. I mean, they have a lot of experience with TV. So for a film like this, where it's just them and we're shooting like so many pages per day, like they had great experience. Like no one ever forgot a line. Everyone was just like so professional, and everyone had such great chemistry that they were fantastic to work with.
Notable actors, did you see these two for these roles initially? Did you conduct a casting process? How did the whole story with getting that talent in your film come to be?
Basically, we did like about a 3-month-long casting session. Okay. We saw so many different actresses. The second Kristen walked into the room, that was it. Okay. We both looked at each other and we're like, done. Game over. Right. This is the girl. Yeah. Beautiful. And the good thing about this movie too is, I mean, it's obviously like you go in and they audition the scene, but since it's a musical movie too, they audition the scene and they go straight into a song. So Kristen came in, she did the scene, knocked out of the park, and then she basically did an acoustic version of a song. Okay. And like we were like completely awestruck. And then after that, we literally seen, I think maybe like 100 actors for it. Okay. Colin came in the room with Kristen, they read together, and we're like, we have a movie. Yeah.
It was magic.
It was magic.
That's the chemistry part of it. Like when you actually see two actors like that work together, you know.
You all knew it, you all agreed on it. Justin, from a production standpoint, there is a definite tone and a definite mood in this film, and music's playing a big role as well. Talk about that.
Well, I think, and our main point was to come to Music City and deliver something, a love story in Music City, and it's surrounded by music. I mean, that's Music City. And so our focus was to get the best talented artists that we could find, and I think we put a beautiful soundtrack together. And it was a collaboration of all three of us that actually came together and like just made a beautiful soundtrack against a beautiful love story. And it was really exciting to do. It really was, yeah.
Talk to us about the mood that you created.
Well, I mean, it's mostly these guys, because I mean, the directors actually created the mood. Yep. I facilitated their mood, and Ryan is one of the best writers I've seen. And we met way back in LA, and this is how the story kind of unfolded. And it saw this script that he wrote, and it's a truth reality that he created amongst his own life on page, and I fell in love with the story as soon as I saw it, and Anthony came aboard too as well to actually create that love of that story, and it became this beautiful creation that we all decided upon in Nashville. Yeah.
Did you set the story in Nashville? That was ideally where you wanted to shoot it, or was it a little bit more generic on the page?
I think on page it was kind of set in the any city America, but when we talked to Justin, he definitely brought, I guess, the life of Nashville together for us, and just the musical vibe of it, we couldn't get anywhere else. So once we kind of started talking about that, the script started kind of forming more towards that world. So basically, before principal photography, we were like, we have to go to Nashville. there's no other place this story can be set.
Well, I worked on the TV show Nashville, so like.
Which TV show?
Nashville.
Oh, great! That particular one, great.
Yes, that's Nashville. So I did that for 3 years and came across a bunch of connections, a bunch of beautiful people. To me, it was an undiscovered city. It really was, and it started to blow up and become big. And we started talking about this like beautiful story that Ryan created. We're like, let's set it in Nashville. I knew some people, I knew some things happening, and it is this kind of up and coming town. And just to set that story in that town became something beautiful because like music is generated every day outside of that town, and love is always a thing that it's a popular thing that people fall and go for, and so those two things came together. It's a beautiful marriage.
Well, I think everyone can relate to like running into like your ex that you haven't seen in forever, and like what would happen, what would you do, and just you kind of just roll with it. And in this case, you start drinking, and you start, and like I think, and that helps. So that was like a big part. And so I think as we went on, like even with the story that Ryan wrote, it just it's just how I think people would feel, and I think it's very relatable. If you went into your ex.
You wanted to keep that realistic bend to it and that relatableness, and it sounds like I can see it in your eyes and your enthusiasm with this film that you achieved that.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was we didn't think to start off with that it would take and unfold the way it did, and it started as this little snowball that like literally just started to roll down and became this big feature for like everyone's heart and soul went into it, and became which usually you think of a big feature, it's like millions of dollars spent into it. This became our souls, our parents' monies, our money, like everything put into it, and heart and soul. And I think it's going to come off a screen of the heart and soul of that we put in will show, and I 100% think it will show. Yes,
absolutely, I think so too. And again, the expressions on your faces are selling it. Now, Justin, are you the reason this film is here at the Twin Cities Film Fest with your Minnesota connection?
I don't think so. I think the reason the film is here is because of these gentlemen. Like, I think it's because of what he wrote, and I think it's because Anthony is also producer, director, of what these guys did and what we teamed up to do has something to do with, and it's also the compilation of everybody else. It involves the DP, involves like the entire cast and crew that came together to produce this, to allow this to come into the Twin Cities Film Festival. It's not an easy thing. There's no connection to just get into the Twin Cities Film Festival, You actually have to have a viable thing to get in, and I think we produced that, and I think we actually made a really good viable product that people will love. Story, it's like written from this man's heart onto a page, onto the screen that people will feel, and it will become something that is amazing. Like, I think people will connect with that, I really do.
The team behind the dust storm that you're all gonna see, and this whole lobby, this huge packed lobby, is gonna take in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again.